Stories Podcast, your number one show for everything guitar.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Guitar Stories, episode 65. Hello, Daniel-san.
Hey, Andy. Where am I? What is it?
It's weird, isn't it? We've been
Yeah,
away.
It feels like a new show. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You seem refreshed then in that case.
Yeah, kinda. A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's great
We've
to be
both
back.
been ill. We're both still a bit croaky. Yeah. What a great time to be back in the guitar world, Guitar Stories. Wonderful guest tonight, new gear, people in the chat watching already. Hello, people in the live chat if you're watching this live. Hello if you're watching or listening to this, I should say, on the podcast version.
Yes.
We've got lots and lots of people in the chat already. Tonight, Dan, we have a guest, a pedal builder, a head honcho, dare I say.
A head honcho, yeah.
Big boss man.
Big boss man, and I'm looking forward to talking about him because we already had a little bit of a dive into the topic early on before the show that he's got a very interesting CV, and pedals. You can always talk about pedals, no doubt about that, right?
Yeah. Also, Dan and I had a little bit of a sing-along before we went live. We were singing Offspring on an ukulele. Do you want to give him a little rendition?
And that reminded Andy of Why Don't You Get a Job by The Offspring, which is completely accurate. Like, it's super close, but yeah.
Is that what we were playing, or were you just noodling?
I was just noodling.
Okay, there's an Offspring little pun for you there, because the guitar player is called Noodles. Right.
I didn't even get that. I'm so sorry.
Intentional pun. Episode 65. We're nailing our puns finally. It is really good to be back. And to the people in the live chat, if you have any questions for our guest this evening, we will collect them and we will ask him very, very soon. Dan is leaving. Where are you going, Dan?
Wait.
What's he doing?
Wait.
Dan has left. I think his camera battery has died. Well, this is fun. We're seeing all. Wow, this is the back scenes. I hope he doesn't play any videos that he shouldn't be. We're seeing the play mode of Dan's camera. Filipe, I know you can see this. This is Guitar Stories Podcast. This is the level of professionalism you should be expecting. If you're listening to the audio version of this, all chaos is breaking loose in Germany, and someone's taken over Dan's camera.
No, all good. What
was that?
I was completely blurry, so I was trying to do the focus kind of thing, but then the camera slipped and I accidentally hit the play mode, and there was some video stuff. But now I think it's much better, right? So
it's not as if we've been talking for half an hour already, and you had all the time to do that. We're just dicking around on ukuleles.
and drinking tea.
Drinking tea. What kind of tea are you drinking this evening?
I'm enjoying a beautiful box of Forbro lemon iced tea. Cheers.
I've never tried the lemon one, but bubblegum is where it's at, as we all know.
All right.
And if Perfecto de Castro is listening or watching, then he knows also. I was about to say let's bring our guest in, but he's disappeared. Oh, he's come back. Oh, okay. I can see why. Dan, I know that you have prepared a wonderful introduction for our guest this evening. So if you would lead us into the introduction, we can bring our guest.
All right, lovely. Okay, so that was kind of impromptu style, but let me give it a shot. So tonight we're welcoming Filipe Pampuri, who is the CEO of Beetronics FX. And learning to play the guitar from his dad as a child, Filipe quickly realized that there was no plan B for pursuing a career as a musician. After getting signed to a record label from LA, Filipe moved to the US, and they went on a 7-year streak, releasing 3 records as a band, but eventually broke up. Luckily, he had dived deeper into the realms of do-it-yourself pedal building and gear fixing, which laid the foundation for his future as the founder and owner of a company called Beetronics, which is located in the Beehive, I think in LA area. Is that correct?
We'll ask him.
I don't know.
We'll ask him
Yeah,
ourselves.
we'll
Let's
ask
see how
him.
much
We'll
we
ask
got
him.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, in that case, please welcome a
Filipe.
hero of mine, a fuzz pedal maker. It's Filipe from Beetronics FX. Oh my goodness! It's a real life bee.
Do we have sound effects?
What's up, guys? I was gonna put it on, but this thing, it's hard to put it on and suffocate you a bit, so not not too easy.
Filipe, welcome to
All
the
right, guys.
show. Thank you and obrigado. That's my
Obrigado.
Portuguese finished. How much did we get right of that introduction? Anything? Most of
Yeah,
it?
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I'm from Brazil. For whoever don't know, I was born and raised in Brazil. Me and my brother, we're both musicians. Both my brothers play, and my dad plays as well. He's a doctor, but he also has a passion for music. That's where my passion probably came from for most. Uh, and yeah, like 12 years ago, now almost 13, I moved to LA because of a band I was in. Back in Brazil, me and my brother always had recording studios. That's what we did since I'm like 17, probably. We started really recording bands and doing all that kind of stuff. Since we were really young, like we were recording pretty much. We kind of kicked out my mom out of her bedroom at some point and built a studio in my mom's bedroom. We really did. And then, and that was our first studio. And anyways, we went on to, having different studios in São Paulo. And one of the projects that we were working in ended up coming to LA to mix a record. We ended up getting signed to this label here and kind of never went back. So
Cool.
after a while, I was making the pedals while I was doing the touring thing, and was more of a goal of me having my own stuff, and definitely the opposite of having a brand, in the sense of like I didn't want anybody to have none of my pedals at all. That was the reason why I was making them, and also I would have something that nobody had it. And yeah. No, it's fine. It's just the dudes here. We're at the Hive, by the way. We're at our spot. So I'm at the front. We have a studio, and the back we have
some busy bees
where
in
we
the
make the
background.
pedals. But yeah, and I was making the pedals for me. Initially, the idea was not to start a brand at all. Was to just have my own sounds, and people come in and say, "Hey, what do you play?" And I'd be like, "No, it's my stuff," But then eventually I was broke, and a friend was like, "Hey, dude, sell me one," and I was like, "No, I might," and I ended up selling it, and kind of picked up like quite quickly. A lot of like local people started, "Hey, dude," and soon enough it became Beetronics, but it wasn't fully intended to be that way.
Yeah, but that's even
Also,
better if it grows naturally, right?
Yeah, similar story for me, Filipe, that I didn't mean to start a YouTube career. It just, I did it for fun and turned out to be, I'm a glutton for punishment. I like hard work, so I carried on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it.
Well, Filipe, we're going to dive deeper into your story and the story of Beetronics FX in a little bit. We're going to run through a little bit of the news of the week, and we've got some gear picks. Dan's favorite gear pick of the last 7 days, my favorite gear pick of the last 7 days. Filipe, did you choose anything from the past 7 days?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, don't tell us yet. That's great.
Okay.
We're just going to do the news because there is some important news at the moment Dan and I was talking about, and that is first and foremost from a guitar point of view, it's the apparent tube shortage, but that's obviously linked to the situation currently going on to the east of us at the moment, and we wanted to show our support for Ukraine and the people that are living there. And of course, I have friends that are from there and are living there. We've got guitar companies that are there. And there's one guy in particular that I wanted to talk about, and that's Scott, who does the lessons for Spectre Digital. And he's had to leave his home in Ukraine with just anything he can fit in his car. And in a way to help him, the courses that are available on Spectre Digital at the moment are completely going to him. So if you buy one of his courses, which I'm about to put in the live chat, it's not an affiliate link or anything like that. It's just a link to Scott's course. All these proceeds go towards Scott being funded as a musician, and his courses are excellent, especially if you're into mixing metal and stuff like that. So we'll also put it in the link for the podcast, Dan. And then if you want to go and buy one of these, everything that you buy goes towards Scott. And he's going to go and live. Can I say it, Dan? Do you think we can see where he's going to go and live?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go and live with Henning from HP42. Henning has opened his home because he's such a kind-hearted person. I hope Scott and his family know what they're getting into. Yeah, so we just wanted to be sensitive as to what's going on. But in regards to what's happening in the world and us doing a guitar show, we believe that, well, we started the Guitar Stories podcast to be positive in the guitar world and spread positivity and the fact that guitar is fun. And I'd like to think that people still need that fun and still need that positivity, regardless of what's happening in their part of the world. So that's why we're doing it, and we hope to bring some joy to your world wherever you are. Did I miss anything, Dan?
Nope, that was spot on, and I'm super glad to see so many, people from our community, artists, etc., support that humanitarian help at the border, and it's just incredible to see, people not just donating but also driving to the border, carrying people to other countries, and providing homes. It's remarkable, and we've talked internally in the company as well, and with the family. It's just it's so important to kind of show that support and yeah, just make it possible somehow, because we're all in that situation, and those people, they need ASAP help. They can't wait for some sort of program or state support or anything. We got to help all together. Together we're all stronger. So
yeah, and we're all guitar players, so we should all get along at some point, even though some of us are bass players. Just
yeah.
Okay, well, to talk quickly about the tube shortage, there's been a few videos going around, and I also made a video but haven't released it yet because I wasn't sure about the sensitivity of it. Filipe, Dan, what's your view on the tube shortage, to throw you both in the deep end?
I barely seen really online, just a little bit people talking about, I guess, electroharmonics or something. I saw one or other news, but honestly, I'm not super familiar with what exactly is going to happen towards that.
Okay,
so Electroharmonics released a statement to say that they produce their tubes in Russia, and because they can't export them, there will be no tubes for a foreseeable or unforeseeable length of time. Now, Dan is quite an intelligent chap and quite business-minded, so Dan has some pretty cool opinions on this. So would you share a little bit about what you said in the WhatsApp messages we were sending?
Oh wow, now putting me on the spot, but yeah, of course. Well, basically, what's happening, and I don't know if everyone kind of got that already right, is that EHX, they own like one of the largest vacuum tube companies or manufacturers in Russia, and basically now being banned from exporting their stuff. It's an immediate shortage of tubes everywhere, because I think there was a big Chinese factory, what was it called, Chuzhuang, I think, something like that, that had burned last year, so they are not back in operation. And there's a Slovakian company as well, but they are kind of supporting at the moment, so the production is also not at full capacity, which leads to a lot of demand, and that demand cannot be met. And for the foreseeable future, the ban in Russia will not be lifted, and that kind of confronts the owners of EHX with decisions that they have to make. Can they kind of pursue their business in Russia, or do they give that up with the freight of having their the fear of having their company being nationalized by the Russians and kind of losing all their assets? So we talked about what options they have. They can either pull out the market or kind of try to keep stuff running and build some sort of stock if that's possible, and just run production as is without exporting it, rather stuffing it in a warehouse until that sort of ban is lifted, or they have an opportunity to kind of export that stuff. So yeah, I'm positive that in a not too far future, we will get more supply in the market, and maybe even the market will be flooded again. But for a couple months, there will definitely be a shortage in tubes, and you can see that already on Reverb and eBay that the prices have skyrocketed. But we talked about that at length as well. If you own a tube amp and you're not a professional guitar player, you're just a hobbyist, how often do you change tubes? Once a lifetime, or every decade or so. So I don't think that as many people will be immediately affected as you might think at the moment. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
I hope so.
I have a few amps that need tubes, I'll tell you that much, and that makes me sad because I'm gonna have to spend some extra money. I have quite a few.
You get to sell a lot of pedals in the next few months.
Yeah, trading pedals for tubes now.
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal, but as guitar players, it kind of is. But it's good to know that maybe we're going to be forced to move on to more modern ways of making our guitars louder. Who knows? But we just wanted to bring it up, talk about it, and if anyone has any opinions, then throw it in the chat. And I'd love to hear your opinions personally. But we'll move on to some lighter stuff and some gear stuff. So again, being sensitive to what's going on, we're going to keep it positive and talk about gear. So I think I'm going to go first this week, Dan. Is that okay?
Sure.
I'm feeling selfish.
No.
I'll go for my gear pick of the week first.
Yeah.
Andy's pick of the week.
Hey.
He almost made it back in time. Dan left to refocus his camera again. Okay, so my gear pick of the week is actually a release today. If you're watching right now live, it's Tuesday, and Fender have released a Player Meteora. So it's 4 guitars. There's hang on, I've got to get this. I'm never going to get these names right, but there's a green one. There's a blue burst thingy, and there's a silver burst and a traditional 2-tone sunburst. And these are actually not my pick of the week. My pick of the week is actually the bass versions, because I think the basses look superb. I love the guitars. The basses, I think they remind me of the Jaguar Squire basses that are so popular and sound so good. I just think this lends itself as a shape to being a bass. Dan, you had an opinion on that. You were going to share it with me live. I want to know what it was. You didn't want to tell me offline.
Yeah. I was like, we talked about that previously, that the shapes is something that I completely dig. It looks super futuristic, but also has a lot of retro vibe. But when it comes to the guitars, I think there's a lot going on in the guitars, and that's also the reason why you might gravitating more towards the basses, because with the extended scale, it kind of pulls everything a little bit aside, so it's not too close together, and it's not too much going on. So for the guitars, I would completely dig a version without a scratch plate. Just a plain top, one color.
Oh, really?
And then the pickups, yeah.
So, sorry, Dan, Filipe, we're talking about this, the new Fender Player Series Meteora.
Yes, I just.
I don't know how much you caught. That's the guitar version, but my pick is actually the bass. And Dan, I think you're right. There's so much going on with the guitar, design-wise, that maybe the bass is I see. My favorite one for this is the 2-burst bass, so the more traditional vintage-looking one.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the guitars, I think it might be the silver burst that is my favorite.
That's a cool looking one. But if you can tell that like almost
I don't know.
two-thirds
I'm switching between the two and really, really debating.
Can you see that the scratch plate on the bass is actually smaller than on the guitar? Because like on the edges, there's much more space and much more body to be seen on the basses, whereas the guitars, it's like almost 2/3 of the body is covered with the pickguard.
Yeah, there's a lot of pickguard going on.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't have enough pickguard material for the bass. But some specs just for people that are interested. They've got 2 Fireball humbucking pickups on the guitar, 22 frets, 12-inch radius, an S1 switch so that you can switch between humbuckers and split coils. They're coming in at $1,200, 1,000 euros, and about £850 at the moment. The bass is also Fireball bass humbucking pickups, 20 frets, 12-inch radius, a 3-band active EQ with a toggle to switch between active or passive mode. So quite a lot of options on board.
Yep. Also,
I really dig them. And just a message to the people in the chat right now. I will be getting one to review on the channel. However, Fender have let me choose which color I want. So maybe you could help me choose which color we should have. So stick in the chat which color guitar you'd like to see, and see if it aligns with my choice. Filipe, what do you think of the Meteora series? Any opinions?
I think it's cool. It's a little weird, which I kind of like it. I like the bass better than the guitars as well. If I were to pick between one or the other, and I do like the Silver Burst one. I think the most out of them all. I like a lot of like the. I mean, I guess that's not so recent, but the Noventa, like the new like those lines that they had recently. They had like the P90, like Telecaster. I love those, and I love was the one that they did the 12 string. What was the name of that line that they did Defender 12, and they
Maverick.
did all this like
No,
but they did a whole line that was called
Dorado.
like some psychedelic name, like some whatever the hell was. I really liked all of those in that line. This one, I kind of like. I mean, I don't know. I gotta see it in front of me. I love Firebirds. I played through a long time, like in my life. I love offset guitars, and like for a long time, I used to tour with Firebirds. Back in the day, I used to be sponsored by ESP, and I used to have their. They have like the Phoenix too. And I used to tour playing those guitars, and I really like playing those like big body guitars. So this one might be cool. I don't know. I'm gonna check it out in front of actually play it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Filipe,
you've got to try that.
If you were to pick one, would you go for the maple fretboard version or the Palfero?
But I would go for that Silver Burst there that I just saw. Which one?
Okay, so maple fretboard,
maple
Silver
one,
Burst finish.
That's the maple one. I like more usually, the dark scale, like personally. But in this case, I don't love the other colors.
I'm torn. I can tell you that I would not want the blue one. That's all I can say. I don't know which of the other three I like. The blue one is the one I like least.
I dislike blue, like anything that's like real blue, like bright blue. Like I like sea, like the baby blue vibes that I like. But like whenever it's like blue, I cannot. I don't have anything that's like that.
Let's have a look at the chat. Lucas says that maple is better than Palfero. What else? We've got Poonin just says it was the Paranormal series. So yeah, it was the Paranormal series.
Yeah,
2, I
Paranormal
believe.
series. Yeah. Yeah, those are really cool too.
Guitar Ruckus says green and the two-tone blue. 50% right. Michiel, hello, Michiel says always Silverburst. Yeah, I think that Silverburst is it's what Fender call the hero color. So it's the one they're trying to use to promote the range, and it is the one that I think will be the one that will end up on the channel. I don't know. I really don't know.
Is that the official term, the hero color? I like that a lot.
That is the official Fender term. They call it the hero color. They say, Andy, you can choose any color, but this is the hero color. And if you're listening, Fender, hello. Thank you for the conversation we had earlier. Enjoyed it. Hope you're doing well. All right. So that's my pick of the week. Dan, are you ready with yours?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Dan's pick of the week. Dan's pick of the week.
Haha. So, can you show the pick of the week, please?
I missed it.
I missed it too. It's a great tune. It's a great tune. I still don't have it on my phone. as a ringtone yet.
I'll send it to you as a ringtone. Sorry.
All right.
It's going to be 99 cents.
Hey, corrected for inflation, it might be €1.05 now, right?
You can have it for a liter of fuel. How's that?
Oh wow, you're expensive. Come on, you're ripping me
am.
off, dude. You know.
Hey, I'm a musician. I need to get paid somehow.
All right,
Dan, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is and this ties in quite nicely with what Filipe just said with ESP, the company that used to endorse him, and it's called the ESP Nosferatu Limited.
Oh.
And this is a super limited edition version, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Nosferatu movie, which I think it came to cinemas in 1922. And what makes that so interesting, and I'm really digging the technique, is that the actual image is not painted on the guitar. They use a technique that's called pyrographing. So they kind of burn it into the wood, and depending on how much heat they apply, you get different shades of brown and black, and that kind of creates that amazing image. So from what I understood is that every single piece is unique. So it's hand burned, is that a way, or pyrographed?
Mm-hmm.
And also what I like about it, it's a super cool take on a modern kind of Les Paul, because it's got a super comfy neck joint. It's got modern pickups. I think it's also got stainless steel frets, and Jescar stainless steel frets. A chambered body to be extra lightweight. A lot of contours going on. So that's pretty much a modern Les Paul that you could easily take on stage. However, and that's the hook, only 15 of these are being made, and from what I could tell is that they retail for around 15K, which puts it far out of reach for every mere mortal. So yeah, unfortunately, those will just collect dust in some sorts of closets or museums. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
But
did you see the backplate on it? Sarang's just pointed this out in the chat. It looks like a coffin.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Sarang, you have eagle eyes, my friend. I didn't notice that at all. I just stole your idea from the chat. But yeah, it again, if you're listening to the audio version, check out the Instagram and of course ESP stuff. But that is a brilliant looking guitar. I really like that.
Yeah. Actually, it's not the first. It's not the first guitar with that kind of pyrograph technique. They already released a whole series with M1 models and what was the snappers, and they had some weird designs, the Great Wave, and some birds and skulls on the body. And I like the technique, but they never really appealed to me. But that Nosferatu design is something that I could totally see hanging on a wall of a horror movie fan. So yeah, I wonder how many Kirk Hammett did already order.
Yeah, so I was gonna say he definitely has one.
Maybe it was a custom one. You never know.
I hope he plays one of those live. That would be great. I mean, he's already playing the Greenie, so he doesn't mind playing expensive guitars live.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to see that used on stage, and also for Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, the artwork is round the correct way. So it's as you play it, you can see the artwork rather than when you hang it and the artwork's like that.
Yeah.
So that pleases me also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got a really expensive pick this week, Dan.
I've got
feel
expensive taste.
A very
my
expensive
wife.
taste. Yeah.
Yep.
I am so curious to know what our guest's pick of the week is. Filipe, would you please fill us in?
Sweet.
What is your gear choice of the last 7 days?
I guess I have to choose a pedal, right? Just
Why not?
because that's. I really like I haven't played yet, but I've seen a lot of videos online, and I love those guys. The Catalin Bread, the Many Worlds, the Phaser. It's a phaser with a lot of like waveforms and like all craziness.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of videos of a lot of you guys, YouTubers, and a lot of people playing. I haven't played one, but it seems like a really cool pedal, and I really like that brand. So That would be my pick.
I'm just trying to
Have you
get
guys
a
seen it?
photo for
Have
the
you guys-
people in the video.
Right.
Yeah, I love the artwork on it. It's absolutely
Have you played
beautiful
one
looking
yet,
pedal.
Andy? Did you get one? Or?
No, I didn't get one. I don't currently work with Cattle and Bread. If they're watching, listening, hello, send me a pedal,
Yeah,
please.
let's do it. Yeah.
I'll make a
Make it
nice video
happen.
for you. I'm just
That's
trying to
No,
get
amazing.
the
it
pictures.
seems
but,
like a really cool phaser, different. I guess it has some
Yeah.
like envelope options as well and stuff like that. And I like envelope phaser. So, in general, I actually just got one the other week, which is somewhere around here for a bass rig I'm putting together.
a bass rig, cool. Do you play bass as well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I still, me and my brother, we do a lot of sessions and stuff, and I have played bass in bands before, but I play mainly, on our own stuff whenever we're recording and like doing sessions and things like
Yeah.
that. Even though for most sessions we've been doing, we do bass using samples and stuff, but a lot of I love bass, and I just wanted to put together like I have so many pedal boards, like a lot of pedal boards, right? But they are never really put together, like, because I'm always fucking with stuff, and then I grab one, and then I take a pedal off, and then suddenly I already took the power supply out, and then I don't have cables, and then I never get back to it. So I'm trying to really get organized here and have it in the studio, a few that I'm like prohibited to really like mess with it. I don't know how long that will last, but then I want to put together one specifically just for bass. So
Oh wow. Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
yeah,
I found a
grabbing
picture
a few
for there.
things
It's fortunately it's covering you up, Felipe.
All right,
The many worlds
and
from
it's
Cattle
better
and
than my
Bread.
hair.
I think it's around it's around 200 euros. Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I was curious as what it was going to be. I'd actually forgotten that pedal's released. So much seems to have happened
I
in the
also have
last 7 days.
another pick that I don't know if you guys are familiar with, and I guess it's like the most hated brand probably. But and I mean it's not even really out. I guess I don't know. I just went in on Sweetwater and I saw and I just bought it just because it's like, oh, why not? But Behringer is releasing the biphaser. I don't know if you guys seen that online.
Yes,
or
I've
anything.
seen it. Yeah,
But
it looks awesome.
It's not many places. It doesn't really. I don't know. I tried finding info on it. There's not much info. At least there wasn't a few days ago whenever I bought it. And then I saw they had it on Sweetwater. It's on like pre-order. I guess they called me and said it's gonna ship like I don't know, at the end of next month or something. But I just
Okay.
saw it, and it's funny because I was talking to one of my guys who work here with me on developing, and that was one of the things that I mentioned to him. I was like, there is a gap in the market for that pedal because that pedal costs so much, and Mutron makes it, but there's only a few reissues that cost also a lot of money. And I just told him it would be super cool, like if somebody made something at least with the same features, even if it wasn't like trying to fully copy the sound, but copying like the features and the characteristics. And we were discussing that, and then a couple of weeks later, I saw that. I sent to him, and we left about it. I was just like, all right, I'm glad I didn't jump onto that boat.
How much is it retailing for, Felipe?
I think it's like 150, 160,
Yep.
something like that. It's cheap. I mean, not cheap, obviously, but it is cheap for, if you consider, I don't know how much an actual one costs, but it might be more than $1,000, $2,000. I don't even know. Probably more than $2,000, So
Yeah.
if it sounds anything, I like it. And if it
That's-
has the features in it, and I mean, supposedly they did really copy. I know a lot of people are not super happy with Behringer copying all the synths and all the stuff, but I see him. It's hard to say about it, but I have mixed feelings about it because at the same time, I find it cool that people can actually have some pieces of gear. Like, obviously, I love a Mini Moog, an original one. It costs $10,000, like not everybody's going to go in and spend $10,000 on that.
Yep.
So the Poly D does get a lot of, kids, who are, starting in, who don't have, a set career in it and cannot spend $10,000 to actually try what that feels like. May not be exact like, but, at least I don't know. I guess it makes accessible, for people. And that part,
Yeah.
I truly like it.
I agree with you. I mean, that's Behringer's raison d'être, is to get things to people that couldn't normally afford it. I have like the Super Fuzz pedal, and it's phenomenal. I also have a Boss.
I
I've said
did buy
too.
that one. This
It's
the
just
other day they had
it's fantastic.
the. It's actually sitting right
Yay!
here. Yeah, the other day I think it was like some holiday, I haven't even tried, to be honest. It's been in the box. It just sat here. I bought it because it was $18, and I could not believe that for $18 somebody can actually make a pedal, send to another store can sell a pedal, a shipping company can actually ship to me, and it all costed $18. That's the part that really worries me, because somebody's on a chain or like something is happening, because how did it get to my house for $18 is pretty crazy. I guess they can do somehow, but
I have no
that's the
idea,
part where it
but
worries me.
it's a lot of fun for $18. I'll give you that. That's the best $18
Yeah,
you
it's
could
great,
spend for
it's great.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Felipe, you have to choose only one of those two things. So is it going to be the Behringer or is it going to be the Catalan bread? Which one's it going to be?
What? Oh no, it's gonna be the Catalan bread for sure. I wanna try that thing
Okay.
for sure.
So in that case, Felipe, we're going to play a game called Buy, Borrow, or Burn, where we have three picks: Dan's pick, your pick, and my pick, and we have to buy one, we have to borrow one, and we have to burn one. So there are three things. You have to make a choice on buying one, borrowing one, or burning one. You don't actually have to go and buy it. It's just a game. But out of those three things, the Meteora base I'm going to go with. Dan's got the ESP Nosferatu, and you've got the Catalan bread phaser. We're also going to go to the live chat and see what people in the live chat would do. Let's play the little jingle and come back and see who's going to get buy, borrow, or burned. Buy, borrow, or burn. Right, Dan's vanished again. Where are you going? Why do you two keep leaving today? Right, we go to the chat. We've got Guitar Ruckus, Will, buy the Meteora, borrow the Catalan bread, and burn the ESP because they couldn't justify paying that much with it not being a vintage guitar. Okay, interesting. Anybody else for any more in the buy, borrow, or burn of the chat? Poo Ninja, hey Poo. Buy the Many Worlds, borrow the Meteora, and burn the Vampire in the Sunlight. I like. Then we've got Studio Camille. Buy the phaser, borrow Andy's Silverburst bass, and burn the ESP for the heck of it. Lucas from Alan M Guitar is going to buy the Meteora, borrow the ESP, and burn the pedal. Ouch. Okay. Dan's having a few technical issues. He's kind of back. Here he is.
Now you're running nice and smoothly.
Yeah. Welcome back.
You sounded like one of those 8-bit games. Yeah, how you are.
Okay. Apologies.
No worries.
Who wants to go first, chaps? Who wants to admit what they buy, borrow, or burn?
Let's do it vice versa. Let's have Filipe
Okay.
guess.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll go. I don't know if I can say that, because if my burn option was the ESP, that can become a problem. That I cannot.
It's
say
just
that.
a game. It's only a game.
At the same time, paying 15 grand for the guitar would be rough. But I think my game would be I would borrow your Fender, because you're already getting one, so I'll borrow yours. I'll buy the pedal, and I'll burn the ESP, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
Poor ESP.
But that's maybe that's
They're
how
gonna
they
be mad at me.
discovered the pyrographing, by burning the guitars.
Exactly, yeah. It is already burned. We just finished it.
Just finished the job. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking through the chat to see if anyone would actually not burn the ESP because so far I'm reading the chat and everybody is burning the ESP. Sarang says he'd buy the Meteora but only pay $750 for it. That's not part of the game, Sarang. You can't add your own stipulations in there. It's not eBay. Borrow the kettle and bread. Sorry, Dan.
I wonder how that looks like. Like Sarang's going into the music store and he sees the Meteor on the wall with a $999 price tag. And he goes like, "I'm buying that guitar for $750." You understand? You gotta be pretty convincing, right?
True. I mean, he seems too nice a chap to be able to do that, but maybe there's a darker side of him that we don't know. He'd bury the ESP into the heart of Vampire. I'd be up for seeing that. Okay, I'm going to guess for Dan, and then Dan, I'd like you to guess for me, okay?
Okay.
I think Dan would buy the ESP because he's absolutely loaded. He would borrow the Meteora and he'd burn the pedal.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I think you're right. But 15K is quite a lot for a guitar, so I would never be able to justify that. On the other hand, the Meteora, while it looks pretty nice, yeah, well, while it looks pretty nice, I'm still not sold on the Palfero, so I would only have choices to go with the Sunburst or the Silverburst, and yeah. But I mean, I could still borrow the Silverburst from you, so that's totally fine. So spot on.
As long as I can borrow your ESP, that's fine by me.
You're welcome.
Okay, Dan, would you guess for me, my friend?
Well, since you already are getting the Meteora in, I would say you'd probably buy it if you had to, because you're digging the looks and you want to try the sounds and you want to find out if the humbuckers are really bucking the hum. And you would probably borrow all the pedals that Filipe has in his selection, like the phase and also what was the other one?
More phasers.
Yeah, correct.
The Behringer.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was talking about the phase because that's pretty appealing. But also the Catalan bread. I'm talking about that one, yeah. And because it would give you just more options, and that's good. And probably Filipe would add a couple pedals that he's got on his workbench as well. A couple prototypes or custom pedals. Never know. And you would definitely burn the ESP as well because you're, to my knowledge, no horror fan, and you wouldn't dare to spend 15K on a guitar, on one guitar, not on guitars in general. Well, maybe on a vintage Jazzmaster, but not on a new ESP. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, I am quite a fan of the Nosferatu movie.
Okay.
But I think you got it right. So you said a lot of things there. I'm not exactly sure what you said, but I think it was buy the Meteora, borrow the pedals, burn the ESP.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And if that's what you said, then you're correct, sir. If that's not what you said, then that's what I heard. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And I think that everybody's burning an ESP today, except the 50 lucky people that actually get to own one. And I hope they don't. So, it is time, I guess, to talk to our guest and actually find out the intricate details of the Beehive and the Beetronics FX home and the future, and basically find out what makes you tick, Filipe. So if anybody in the live chat has any questions, now is the time to type them in, and we will save them and ask him in a moment. If you don't have any questions, then just join in the fun, and we've got some questions lined up already. So, Filipe, welcome to the show again. I know you must be really busy. There's so much going on behind you. I hope you are not being dragged off from actually doing work to talk to us too. And
no,
other people
I'm
listening
actually
and
I
watching.
have more important work, which I'm being a little dragged off, which is not a problem. But I just had a kid on Friday. My second son was born last Friday, so
Oh,
I was actually
congratulations!
not gonna be. I was actually not gonna be at the hive today, and I stopped by in the morning because we have a new product that we're working on, and some stuff came in, and I came to check it out, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it from here just because I'm here. So, but yeah, I have a newborn baby at home, so
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. Congratulations. So it's the
thank you.
second
Yeah,
you said.
that's exciting. My second son.
Right. Amazing.
And what is the age difference between your two? How old is the first one?
My youngest one is 3 now.
All right.
My oldest
Okay.
one is 3 now. So
Okay.
my youngest one just born
Okay.
3 days now, actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people in the chat sending you congratulations. Of course, it is.
Thank you.
It's probably almost a better job than making fuzz pedals. I'm not sure which, you know,
It is.
being a
It's
dad,
been-
fuzz pedals. It's a tough choice for me, if I'm honest. Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
really great news, and it's I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
excited.
I probably should have done
Yeah, no,
more
that's
research.
fine. I mean, I
But,
didn't.
yeah,
Whenever
welcome.
we actually booked,
Thank you, Dad.
whenever we actually booked, I thought about it, and I even commented here with Tato, and I was saying, I hope it, it doesn't happen on kind of the same day or the day before, because you never know when it's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it did happen last Friday. So
Cool. Well, it's the best thing in the world.
Actually,
so
It
Mario
is,
for
I
Face
mean, it
Distribution
is.
actually told me you were expecting, so I should have remembered.
Cool. Yeah, last time, like my other son, he was born like 6 days before Nan, so that was a crazy timing, because how it is now. So that was a crazy timing. I was literally I was driving because I live in Sherman Oaks, right here in LA, and it's like about an hour drive, depend with no traffic, like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours if you're going to Anaheim with traffic. So I was driving back then here every night to come home because we usually, get hotels or like rent a spot there. But that year I was driving back home just to be with my kid at least, for the end of the day, Yeah, so I'm super happy that NAM is changing. Changing dates. Because it's not around my son's birthday anymore.
yeah.
That's good. I mean, you can always take him with you. I'm sure he'd enjoy that, being 3 years old and let loose on a massive guitar and audio
He
shop.
He went on
Yeah.
the year later.
Well, that's brilliant news.
When he was on here, yeah. Sweet.
Cool.
Sweet.
Cool. Well,
So means even more
so
sleepless nights
people
then.
are writing their questions in the chats. It does. So I'm now having some lagging issues. So I'm sorry if I'm talking over you, by the
you
way,
had
but
it too,
there is
so.
some lag going on this evening.
Yeah.
So Filipe, Beetronics FX. I have to say that it is a huge honor to have you here because I have played
Thank you,
every
my friend.
pedal you've released so far, and I've loved every pedal you've released so far.
Thank you, man.
I am a massive fuzz pedal fan, and every time I hear the word Beetronics, I think of fuzz, and I think of all the fun that you can have with the Beetronics pedal, because there are some fuzz pedals that you can genuinely use in a musical sense, and there are some fuzz pedals that you can use in a musical sense, but also you cannot use in a musical sense, such as the Swarm, which is an absolute monster of a fuzz pedal. And I've been in a room of guitar players all trying to figure out how to use it. It's insane. So if anyone doesn't know what Beetronics FX is, you can just imagine the craziest, most beautiful built pedals that are fuzzy. And I have one here with me, Filipe. This is the one that you made for me with the geek on it. This is the Vespa.
That was the fun
So, and I can't get too close to the camera because it'll go out of focus, but one of the things about your pedals is the fact that they're beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. And
that's cool,
I want to know, has that always been a thing for Beetronics, or is that something fairly new, or was that from the beginning?
From the start. I mean, whenever I, like how I said it, like I didn't really start making them for for selling at all, you know. But my wife, she's an architect, and I'm one of those people who really like building stuff from always. Before I build pedals, like if you say, "Oh, let's build a table," I would be like, "Oh yeah, let's make a table," you know, like that kind of stuff. There's people who are not into that. I'm one of those people who be like, "Yeah, let's do it," you know. So whenever I started making the pedals, I really wanted to go, you know, I really went a little deeper into it in the sense of like, all right, I'm gonna make these. Like I don't want to use those Hammond boxes. I'm gonna make my own boxes. So me and my wife, we came up with designs for the boxes, and like, and even the logo for Beetronics. It was before Beetronics was to be a brand. You know, like I have these friends in Brazil, super talented, Lee, who, you know, he's like a art director for like agencies and stuff. And at one of my trips down in Brazil, I was making the pedals and stuff, and I was just like, hey dude, can I drop by so we create a logo for like for this pedals that I make? But we were literally not thinking of selling it. And then whenever I started making PCBs, that was the same thing, you know. And we still up until today make like the Octahive and the Overhive, the Octahive, which we discontinue, but up until the end, we were making it with the same exact PCBs that I was making from the beginning.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that they are not super assembly friendly, if we put it that way. You know, like if I were to think, oh, let's make it a business, like that's not like the easiest way to build those, you know, those things. And up until today, we still build them the same way. But I was, at the time, I didn't think I was gonna make thousands of them, you know. And if I were to think back then, I would, like, nowadays we make them still, you know, all in the shape, but I have more. I have also a mindset of, all right, we're gonna have to build a lot of these, so you know, I create ways, and I've been learning also in the meantime. But yeah, it was more of a fun thing. More to say, like, you know, the very first ones, like they have a lot of wiring, a lot of like sub assemblies and little things here that you need to like first go in and work on all the sub assemblies, like a lot of stuff that's really time consuming, you know, that if I was to ever like make a V2, I'd probably make in a way where we can optimize those things. But it's also the cool thing because we actually, you know, have to do it, you know. It is. So it was something that we did. I was doing it for fun, and I was just like, why not? You know, if we can do it, if we can make them. I don't know. I don't do the PCB design. I always had, you know, friends and people. Nowadays we have one of the guys that work on art development that does them. But I'm always into art. You know, I love art and stuff, and I love all that. And then the first PCB I went to do with this friend, I was like, is it possible? Like, can you do it? Like, what are our limitations? And I figure out that there are a few limitations, but there are not many. You know, it just becomes a lot harder to build in a lot of ways, depending on how we're doing it, putting it on a rack or this. So you need to. There's a lot of like details to it. But I was like, why not? You know, if we can make it look cool, like, why am I gonna make it look boring? You know, so
Yeah. That was actually a question
was
that
kind
popped
of
up
how
in
it
my
came
mind
out.
when Andy asked that you would go on the show, that how much, like in terms of percentages, how much of extra work is
Absolutely.
to create those kind of intricacies? Yeah.
I mean, it's not too much. I mean, after the PCB design is done, it's done. You know, it goes. You know, the factory makes it. You know, that shape. So the shapes become a little harder. Like that way. Like nowadays we do with a frame. So whenever you're assembling, you put it in a rack, because you know a B-shaped one, like it doesn't sit well on a rack, and then you put it and it bounces because it doesn't have two like straight lines for you to actually put it on a rack. All those details. While you were building, nowadays we've been working on some really crazy like I'll we'll probably get into those subjects later, but we're working on some really really crazy pedals, like the new stuff that we have coming out. Like if you guys think this one is crazy, like get ready, because it's really nuts. But then we're having a lot more. We're having to go a lot like back and forth into those parts because the circuits are a lot bigger.
Okay.
So in order to make stuff fit, we need to. We work with artists, so we do the drawing, do all the design, but then we need to sometimes comes back and adapt and say, no, certain things are not fitting. We're gonna have to add a little melting honey here, so we have an extra space for an extra, IC that we cannot fit there, and we kind of have sometimes to go a little back and forth. But
Okay.
overall, I never done another way, I never done a square board, so that's how I literally never done one. So
You started right away with the high difficulty. That's good.
yeah, so I mean, it's kind
It's
of
good to hear
normal
someone
by
coming
now for us.
from the. It's good to hear someone coming from the art and truly making something as a piece of art as well as a sonic piece of art, rather than
Yeah.
if we cut it like this, it'll be $10 cheaper or something like that. It's and also
Yeah.
your pedals are not that much more expensive, or indeed any more expensive than what we would call a regular star pedal. So
No, yeah, I mean,
you're doing something.
I don't think that adds like I know it. I should probably keep the folktale like going. Oh yeah, it's way more. No, it's not more expensive to make the shape, unique or like different. It doesn't. It's not gonna cost. It may take you a little more headache of like going back and forth. There is a few details like those softwares where they design PCBs. They're almost like a CAD, like those like architecture drawing like things. So whenever you have to draw like intricate shapes, it becomes a little harder, and sometimes they need to go in by hand and actually redraw the whole outline of the board. And there is some things like that that take a little more time, but it's not. It's just more, the whole part of just putting it all together, actually, working, with making an artwork, and doing all that and getting in and figuring out, it would be a lot. I'll say that way. It would be a lot easier for me if I had it, like I see, even, on the whole, how most brands, they have the same, like, oh, it's always three knobs on the same position and they always go the same way, and the foot switch always goes on the same. If you look at our pedals, none of them are like that, which is almost like a dumb thing in a sense, because it becomes a lot more
Yeah.
work that every time we need to go through all that. But then at the same time, I like it, like I wouldn't, I like it, things to be different. And most of the times I started by saying, I start telling everyone, I'm like, no, we're going to just make, like the same as the Vespa was or something like that. And then we're in the middle of the way, I'm going to be like, yeah, but we're going to do this, but we're going to add that. But then suddenly it has nothing to do anymore. And I have moved everything around. Anyways, well, that's the fun part,
Yeah.
It's
really clear, Filipe, that you're very, very passionate about what you do. It's really clear that you're excited.
Yeah, no, I like it. Like that's the part that I like the most. To be, I mean, I like the whole developing thing. I don't. I guess nobody really loves that, or maybe some people do. Like I like building stuff. I like sitting down to build. A lot of days I come here and I have a lot of stuff to do, and I'm like, oh, I just sit down and actually stay building stuff, because it's kind of like therapeutic. Like my mind goes somewhere else, and I just keep. Sometimes I don't want to have to deal with people or talk or do anything. I rather just like put some music on and stay building something. These days I don't really build much. We have more people here doing building, and I've been working more on developing. And that's kind of the cool part, really. Nobody really likes say, oh, let me build 1,000 of this thing. Let me sit here for like 3 months building 1,000 of these, like it's fun to build one for my board. It's fun to build 10 for me to give to my friends. But, the cool part's actually the first ones, like getting it. And whenever we get the first one to fire up and work, I'm like, fuck yeah, like we got something cool. That's kind of why I came in today and yesterday as well, because we actually got one of our final prototypes going. So I was like, I need to come down and see it and feel it,
Cool.
Filipe, you said earlier on that while you were still with the band, you were already starting, tinkering with effects and building your own pedals. Did you have during certain periods some sort of mentorship, some sort of people that taught you more about effects, that gave you a deeper rundown on how everything is related, PCB boards and capacitors and all the parts that go in those pedals? Like, what were the people that kind of influenced you and gave you the knowledge to kind of be able to actually pull that off? What do you do nowadays?
I mean, first YouTube, and internet and like, forums and all that. That's like kind of the most probably helpful thing to be
Uh-huh.
fully honest. But what happened is like this: at the label we're in, they own NRG Recording, right? NRG is a really really like insane recording studio here in North Hollywood. Like they probably like top 5 in the world. Like it's amazing, right? And at NRG, they have 3 rooms, like 2 rooms have Neves, one used to have an SSL or whatever. So they always had a house tech, right? Fixing the gear because gear is breaking. You have a studio that big with that much gear, there's always something breaking every day. And they had a house tech always doing that. And whenever we
Okay.
got to record our first record there, I started discussing that with my brother because at that point I still thought that I was going to go back to Brazil and we're still going to have studios in Brazil. I think at that time we still had a studio in Brazil because our partner was still running for a few months while we were here until we actually decided we were staying and stuff. And one of my thoughts were like, in Brazil, things are really hard to get repairs, like especially 12 years ago and 15, 20 years ago, was even harder. But we don't have, it's not like things in Brazil are harder in general. Let's say, we don't have Amazon that will deliver the Prime that, oh, I need more solder, and the solder arrives at your door, like that kind of stuff don't exist there, like
Yeah.
in that way yet. People, even a few years ago, people are not at all used to buying online, so you don't have resources, and there's very limited resources for you to to go to places and just buy. Oh, I need to replace a capacitor. Oh, where do they sell an actual same capacitor that I need for this amp or whatever? It's not that
Mhm.
easy. And then the guys that do repair, and there are a few great guys there that do repair, they're always super busy. Like I say about this story. Like the first time I played a Rhodes piano, I borrowed this Rhodes piano from a friend. His dad was like a big time key player for like this like super famous Brazilian singer Roberto Carlos, who is like a legend in Brazil. And his dad was the only person that I knew that had a Rhodes, right? And I had never heard a Rhodes or played one in front of me, right? And we were doing this video shoot, and I was like, hey, can we go in and like steal that Rhodes that's sitting at, because the Rhodes was sitting at his house, right, this friend's house, but his dad would never go there, show up there. I was like, can I steal the Rhodes just like for the shooting? One day we take it, we bring it back, like our dad won't know that we took. And the guy let me take it, and we went and we sound checked everything, and I went down. At the time I used to smoke, and I went down for a smoke, and I came back, and I was like, who turned the amp off? I'm like, nobody. And I'm like, oh shit, and the burn, like we burned the amp, I don't know how, and that thing never got fixed. It never got fixed, because we tried calling so many places, and guys, repair guys, they're like, dude, you ain't bringing a Rhodes amp. Like if nobody's seen a Rhodes amp, this is the size of a Rhodes amp, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the size
Yeah.
of, like a two 412s, almost like one next to each other, size wise.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to take it. It never got repaired, and I felt super bad, So anyways, we always ran into those problems at our studio where it was like shit was breaking, we didn't know how to fix it, and we didn't have nobody to fix. And at the studio here at NRG, they had Wade, who used to fix everything, and insane guy, like great, technician, also great sound engineer. But I started asking him some stuff. I was like, all right, a good entry point for me to learn how to fix stuff is guitar pedal kits. I can start kind of figuring out a little bit of electronics, and I never really got into repairing stuff at the end of it all. I actually hate repairing stuff. And if you tell me, oh, do you want to repair something? No, I don't. I'll never want to repair anything. I hate doing it. In fact, that's why I was saying I have a few amps that need tubes, and a few like it ended up taking a turn where I just stuck to making pedals myself. But yeah, that was kind of how I got it. And then back in whenever I was very starting, I used to ask a lot, damn, like about like, hey, how a foot switch works, how this toggle switch works, how this, stuff. They were more towards, audio gear, like less more into guitar or pedals, and like, so certain specific things were not their thing. But then it was that and kits, and online, and kind of like pretty much YouTube and screwing a lot of things up, pretty much like doing a lot of wrong stuff until you get it right, kind of like that. Up until today, I'm not a guy who went for like electrical engineering college or nothing like that. But I guess my biggest asset nowadays is that I have a pretty good understanding on how things work, and I have a pretty good background musically, and I'm constantly here, in LA in a lot of sessions. Like my brother, he engineers for like all these like major artists. Like he won a couple of Grammys with Beyonce. Like he works like with a lot of like pop, like and big stuff. And I get to work with a lot of musicians that I get to really try stuff on, like, and have a really good feedback, and I kind of know what I feel like it would work. And usually if it works for me, I kind of just go by that. I'm like, if it works for me, maybe it will work for other people. At the very end of it all, I kind of care less much, and I'm just like, if I like it, if it works for me, then I'm good, and that's kind of how I go. So I work nowadays a lot on developing pedals, on doing all that, and a lot of like the concepts, a lot of like the going back and forth on how things should work, on how, like, a lot of that. I have another guy that works with me that works a lot on the more technical part of a lot of stuff, but a lot of what I do is back and forth with him on, like, no, this should be that way, this should go this way, this should sound like this, and we just keep on like trading ideas a lot, so
Cool.
that's kind of how I go about it.
Don't know how massive the lag currently is with Andy. Are you still with us, Andy? Because your potato quality at the moment.
Yeah, he has a weird quality.
It sounds great. One of the things that you do at Beetronics FX so well. I'm still here. Hello,
Hey.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you just got a massive lag.
I'm definitely still here. I can hear you well. I can see you well. Hopefully, I'm still here. Yeah, it's that time of night again where everybody in Austria decides to watch Netflix and things like that. So hopefully this will stay live. I really apologize, but I had real trouble understanding most of what Filipe just said. But I think I caught the important stuff. So if I'm still here, I'd love to ask about the branding and the idea of the name Beetronics Effects and the B aspect, because, like, I remember the very first day I saw Beetronics Effects, it was like, who the hell are these guys? Because they've nailed this, like, almost Comic-Con sort of costumes and like a Beetronics universe. So was that a from the beginning, or did that develop, and if so, then how?
That was kind of from the beginning as well. Like, my nickname in Brazil is Abelha, which it means bee, for absolutely no reason. It's one of those nicknames that, like, make absolutely no sense. Was like words that went on merging and becoming something else, and it turns out to be Abelha, my nickname. So whenever I started making the pedals, I used to write like Abelhatronics in the pedals, like Beetronics in Portuguese, right? Like Abelhatronics. Just like, just thinking it's funny, And then whenever we went on to making a logo and all that, we're just like, all right, let's go. And then I was just like, it better be Beetronics. Abelhatronics was kind of big and wouldn't fit. And I kind of wanted to make it look a bit like the Telefunken vibe, I was just like, it has to look a little bit like Telefunken, like I really like vintage gear, and all that. So it wouldn't fit if it was a billion, like all that, that big. So we made it into Beetronics, but it was still for the fun of it. But then once we actually became a brand, there is so much about it that we kind of just have fun with it. Like our first NAMM show, I had been to NAMM like probably, I don't know, 7-8 times before we actually went to to NAM as like exhibitor.
Mhm.
So I knew what it was NAM about and what it was to be, on the other side. But we had never done, like as an exhibitor. So that was exactly our thought. Was just like, all right, for us, it's going to be Comic-Con. We just go in like nobody knows who we are. We better make an appearance. Make sure people see who we are. And it actually worked really well. Like our first year at NAM, like it was insane. Like the response that we got. And business wise, it really, like, the business started right there. Like we got a lot of dealers, we got a lot of people interested, and
Okay.
we kind of just kept developing, it, and like we have fun. It kind of became like those things, the masks, all that. We have some friend that makes costumes for movies and stuff like that. So we're like, can you make a bee mask? And by now we have a ton of bee masks. How I mentioned as well, I like building stuff. So whenever NAM came around, we're just like, what we're gonna do? Oh, let's build this crazy thing, build all these hives, build all these things. We're actually at that mood right now because we're about to hit NAM again, right? And
Yeah.
I kind of already got into that mood. A little bit lighter maybe on that mood just because of the baby still, but we'll be full speed, on NAM in a couple of
Great.
weeks. We just kept
Mhm.
doing it, and the guys that work here also like to have fun with it. We just keep on having fun with it, why not?
Yeah.
It wasn't fully, we didn't really strategically thought about it. Like, actually, I mean, I won't even mention who it is, but recently I saw a brand coming up with a lot of that stuff, like, and it has like they released this thing. It's not a pedal brand, nothing like that, but and a lot of this stuff is almost like copied, like of what we do. And I was just like, but it kind of sounded lame to me because it wasn't natural. You could see that somebody was like trying to make that to sell, and we never really done it in that way. We always just done it like, this would be funny, let's do it, like people are gonna, find this funny, and mainly, just like, creating an environment where it's like, it's fun, like it's like, all right, this is funny, this is cool, like, will this help us sell anything? I don't know, I don't care, like, let's do it. How we done every year, for now. Like I think was last NAM, we built that studio thing, and we built this like fake recording studio. We put this like TV on the back as if the bees were playing inside the studio, and we just do it for fun, like it's kind of like, all right, it would be fun to do it. Does it make sense? I don't know, but I also don't care, the good parts that, we made this brand, and it makes enough, movement for us to actually do whatever the hell we want to do. Let's just do it, why not? What difference does it make, So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I go,
Amazing. So when someone asks you what your occupation is, you can legitimately say you're the beekeeper.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I guess.
with your hive.
It's funny because I go to places like I have a neck tattoo that has a bee, right? And we have this masks from Beetronics, and a lot of places I go, I forget that I'm wearing this mask that has the Beetronics thing in here. And then I also have a pretty big neck tattoo with a bee, right? I was coming out of the hospital the other day with my baby in my hand, and this nurse that was helping us, she was like, "What's with the bee thing?" like it happens a lot. Like I'm like, oh yeah. Like I almost look at people with that face. How do you know? But then I remember that it's right in my face. Yeah.
Great. Good.
Excuse me. So I'm back now. I hope I'm back. I hope I'm not potato quality
Yeah.
anymore. I've just checked some settings. I love talking to people, Dan, that are so passionate and so excited about what they do. Even though, Filipe, you've clearly been doing this a long time, it's really clear that you still love what you do, and you're still super into it, and you're still super nerdy, and yeah, it's just brilliant to share a screen with someone who loves what they do.
Thank you,
And
Harry.
no, it really means a lot.
I try, I
And
try to have fun, obviously, work is still work, we have a brand, and there's a lot of things which I really like doing it, like especially business parts of things. Like I'm not I'm not that guy, like I'm a guy. That's why I always just played guitar and then that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I try to focus on the good parts, of doing it. That's, I guess, how it's gotta be, right?
I think we're all lucky enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of the things I
hard
wanted to talk to you about was the. Sorry, Dan, please.
Nope. Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to change gears, so it seems like you have a related question. So let's go with that.
Yeah, I just want to quickly jump in and ask you: Is it kind of hard because you are a very enthusiastic guy and you are like geek level 100 when it comes to pedals and all the bits and pieces? Was it as a company when you grew as a company and you needed to put on staff? Was it hard to find people that were equally into the whole pedal world and equally enthusiastic about that?
I guess it is hard in a sense to find, like to find people in general, especially nowadays. It's been hard, but everything happened naturally with me. The people that work with us, it happened, first, like my brother and my family used to work with me, a lot more in the brand. Nowadays we have Tato, we have Lucas, we have Blaine, Aurelia, all these people who are like for, somehow it was not like we put up an ad and said, hey, we need somebody, and like these people showed up. It was people that actually through life things happen, like we were talking about this the other day, me and Tato. Like I know Tato, for example, from Brazil, like he's one of our, our main guys here at, at B, and I know him from Brazil. He used to play in a band with my younger brother, and one night we were literally at this like this brewery in downtown, and he was there, and he had just like quit the job that he was in, and I was like on the move, like my first son was about to be born, I think, something like that, and I was like, dude, I really need some help there, with the pedals and stuff. And I'd be like, dude, I would be down. But if it wasn't for that night, I was getting drunk there, maybe it would never happen. It's just one of those things in life that, that sometimes, the right time and things happen like that. And that's how it's been for all of us here, like we're kind of like, we are like growing a lot. And in the past few months, we have been trying to hire more people for here. It has not been super easy to find people, but we will. So yeah, kind of like
How many
that,
people? How many people are with the company at the moment?
It's about 7 people that work here at
Okay.
the warehouse. There's one guy that works from Brazil. There's another guy that does some other work from like Netherlands, and there's a lot of like also freelancers, people that are like that are really connected to the brand. Like one of the guys that does our artwork, Karamuru, I would say that he is part of the brand pretty much because he works with us, and we had people from overseas. Like we end up hiring, like, for example, our old guy that used to do like marketing, online marketing and all that is from Brazil, and he used to work from Brazil just because, same thing, like connections and people that we know and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, well, one of the things that you guys do, which apparently is big in the US and not so big over here in Europe, is custom paint jobs for pedals and like limited runs of the same circuit but different looks. And I've got some that I was sent, and I'm gonna show. Hopefully, this works from my potato computer. But there we've got the swarm. I'm not sure what this finish is called, but it's
That's
green and
Lova.
purple. It reminds me of the Incredible Hulk. Lova.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And there's the whole
Lova.
range.
Yeah, that's a limited edition that we just did
Is it
for
such a
Europe
big thing
now.
over there with custom paint jobs? Because it isn't
Yeah,
over here.
this is actually this one is actually a limited edition because we have kind of like 2 tires here, like actually
So
3 tires. We have our standard pedals. We have limited editions, which are usually the same looking pedal, but with a different color, different faceplate type of color and stuff. In this case of this one, we usually on limited editions, we don't hand paint them. This was one that we did hand paint all of them. But usually limited editions are like anodized enclosures in different colors and different faceplates and all that. And then we have the custom shop, which is more intricate like patterns and designs and all kinds of craziness, which was also something that happened from me like back in the day, way back, like the very first stuff that I used to make. I started trying to figure out a way to make them look cool, and I created all this process to make them look whatever aged, whatever people get pissed about it, like an aged pedal. Like, no, that my goal was not to like, I was not trying to make like I want my pedals to be relic because they're gonna sound better. That was not my thing. The thing was just like, I was like, it would look cool if this thing looked like it came from under the sea, and that was literally like the look that I was going for back in whenever I started creating those things.
Cool.
And then as the brand grew, it became a big part of the brand, also related to NAMM. Like on our first NAMM show, one of the things that I figured out was like, how do we make a big appearance? And I was like, all right, we'll make a bunch of custom pedals and people are going to show up to see, and we're going to have all these crazy looking pedals. And that's going to, people are going to like it, and I guess people did we like it, so that we just kept doing all those things, and we still do it. We do it here at our spot.
I gotta say, it's a very switched on decision to kind of already have that almost tier system in your mind, that you have like a regular production, you have a custom paint jobs, and then you have a custom shop on top of that, because that offers not just you but also the consumers so many degrees of freedom when it comes to what they actually want to have, and also what what their wallet is making them possible. So I'm
it's
really
really cool. I probably have some somewhere. I'll find one and along the way. But
Cool.
we we just like it. We do different teams, we do different things like about those, like, and I'm like a hoarder on like knobs and stuff like that. I love knobs, so like I see knobs and I want to buy them. Like I literally want to buy knobs of people, like of their stuff, like I was traveling, I was in Thailand with my wife, and we're traveling, and I get into this shop, and I had this like very old, whatever it was, like some kind of like panel for whatever it was. I have no idea what it was. It was all written in Thai, right? And I was just like, I kept looking at it, and then I was like, what are you looking at? I'm like, those knobs. And I just came to the lady from the store. I was like, can I buy these? And she was like, this what? I'm like, I'm trying to explain to the lady that I wanted to actually remove the knob and buy the knob. Like just thinking I'm trying to buy the thing. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy this knob. Like, can I buy this? Like, how much do you want for this? I didn't get to buy that knob, but I'm like that, like I love those things. So that was also, one of the things on the custom shop, especially on the beginning. I had no idea that we were going to make that many, like I had no idea like that this was going to be. So back in the beginning, I used to like find all these things like on our custom shop. It's very cool and interesting because here in Burbank, there were a lot of like airplane manufacturing and stuff like that from back in the day, right? So there's a lot of like surplus, like little places that you can kind of go and find, like just find hardware and stuff. So a lot of the hardware that goes into the custom pedals are actually airplane parts and like all like those airplane lights and all those things and back in the day, I used to have a lot more of those. And the very early customs all went with a lot of those parts that I at some point, if it was today, I would have never put all those parts in all those pedals and would have kept those parts just for my personal ones, because I had a lot of really cool like knobs and stuff that I ended up putting on and selling it, and I got no known anymore, like some like old Fairchild type of knobs, like real Fairchild knobs that I ended up putting on somebody's pedal. Probably just the knob cost $50, on eBay today. It's like, Tato just got me a tray of custom, so I'll show you guys some stuff.
Oh yeah, please.
Like,
oh yeah.
Like
Can we go full screen, Andy?
Like,
yeah, 1 second. I'm going to put you full screen. That's me. That is you. Oh, your portrait anyway.
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so then we stick with the.
I'll show some more.
Portrait form. That's cool. So these are all hand painted, right?
Yes.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Let me see what else. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
That's cool. Yeah.
So again, if you're listening to the audio version of this, just imagine
Yeah,
the
you're not
coolest
seeing
artwork
anything.
you've seen on some pedals for a while, and that's what you're getting. And just check out the Beetronics FX website.
Anyways,
But
yeah, that kind of stuff,
I mean, it's
it came
so
from
nice.
that kind of like from just me wanting to have those and making them look cool, and I kind of went on developing. Later on, I kind of became a part of the brand, and also I find it very cool for our talking on the business side of things. I find it very cool that we get to have our social media and stuff. Every day you go into our social media, you kind of see something different, and I find that pretty cool, because for most brands that don't have that those possibilities, they kind of gotta post their pedal again and again and again, now with a guitar, now with another guitar, and we get to like make them very different. So we'll post the same pedal 10 times, but the 10 times they look completely like different pedals, So
Another new pedal from
that's the
Beetronics.
stuff. They just brought me some stuff that we were actually making, like stuff like
Sweet.
that.
So, can you fill us in? How do you do the custom graphics stuff? Is it just like regular airbrushing, or do you have various techniques like laser etching or stuff like that?
No, I kind of created like some method with stencils. I don't really hand paint with like a with a brush or anything.
Okay.
But I created this method with like I don't really tell anybody much about it exactly how I do it, but
Sure.
I kind of created a method using stencils, and I created all these different methods to make it look like that under the sea vibe and some things like that, and kind of.
Okay.
But for most part, it's like stencil type of like I really like like street art and stuff like that. So we use a lot of like same vibe as like street art, like painting.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Banksy vibes. So if you said there's a custom shop, so if you wanted to have a pedal, what are there any limitations when it comes to custom graphics or like custom knobs or custom, I don't know, enclosures? How far can you go when it comes to full custom shop?
There is a lot of limitations in a sense of like, since it is like people cannot send like a picture of their dog and say, hey, I want the face of my dog on the pedal. No, that's not what we do, like in fact, for the most part, the custom shop, it's designs that we came up with and we just do it. We do get requests on our website, and people can come in and they'll send like their band logo or something like more specific like that. But we usually, in a lot of stuff, we have to go back and forth and go through. Some people don't always understand that we're not talking about like an UV printer that you're gonna put in and oh yeah, we have 100 colors on this design and it has the most, like it's not how this works. So, but we're always actually able to come out with something I think cooler than the original idea was, to be fully honest. And like we're all, because we know exactly we've painted a lot of these, so we know how to make them look cool, and we guide people through as well. Like a lot of times people will send us some ideas that we know that given it may look cool on the person's head because of he's imagining something that maybe is coming out of a printer. And since we know our method and what really makes contrast, what really makes colors pop, and like what really makes like a design like look really cool on the pedal, and we kind of guide people through and say, no, let's do it this way, and we kind of go back and forth. Usually people come in, they send their initial idea, we come up with a quote, whatever, and then we send back some like a few like sketches of mainly for like positioning of the design and like showing what kind of a rough idea of what it would look like, and then we kind of just go from there. And then at the end we have a lot of knobs, a lot of colors. Like right now I have a lot. Like recently we just received so many knobs, it was not funny. Like with I don't know if you guys know, but the everybody's worried about the tube shortage, but I was worried about the knob shortage a while back, because there was like it is true, it is real, like it is real, it did happen. Like at some point it started becoming really hard to buy like the knobs, like the people that make the knobs for us, like a lot of this stuff, it's kind of like not necessarily custom made. It's not like our custom modes, but they're made to order. There are things that you need to. And we started having lead times of we literally had a lead time of 10 months.
Wow.
So at some point in the pandemic, I made the decision of buying way more knobs than I later figured out how many it was. And by the time they were like, "Oh, it's ready. Here's the bill. You gotta pay for this." And I looked at it, and I was like, "Damn! I really did order that many knobs." And they're like, "Yeah." And then the boxes came in, and we have no place to put more knobs because we literally have every knob of every model and every color you can think of. We have them all. We really do, which is kind of insane. But yeah, at the end, people get
knobs
to
for
pick
life.
the knobs. For the most part,
Knobs for life.
people let us kind of a lot of the stuff because we kind of know, and it's kind of obvious whenever you see all the options that you have for hardware and knobs. We usually come up with a few options and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?"
Cool.
It's cool. It's super cool. I sometimes see some boards with pedals that were from our first NAMM show, and I see on somebody's board, I was like, "Damn, that pedal was so cool. I wish we never saw that." It happens a lot.
Yeah, I think you come to a point as a manufacturer where you probably want to hunt down the old pedals, like the very first ones that you build, and want to put them into some sort of museum or archive, right?
Dude, I used to have here a little bit of that. I'm actually gonna get rid of in order to raise money for a cause for a friend. But I did have some of those. I'm not super nostalgic about stuff. I kind of just want to keep on moving on. But sometimes I see some that I forgot that we ever made, and I'm like, "Oh, damn, we did make that, and that did look super cool," And then sometimes I kind of want it for my board mainly, "Oh, I would put that on my board," but yeah.
Well, I am super looking forward to seeing you at NAMM and seeing what your booth
too.
is. And I know a little bit about the new pedal that's coming out. Obviously, we can't share that, but I'm looking forward to that coming out.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Man. I'm stoked about a lot of stuff like the new. Actually, this was a good thing about the pandemic that we got to really work on a lot of stuff. We spent the past 2 years pretty much working on not necessarily only specific projects, but on a lot of new ways that we're coming up with pedals for the brand, and the brand's going to start releasing things that are quite different than what we have. It's still very Beetronical, it's still very edgy, it's still but quite different, and I think people are going to be surprised.
Cool. So is Filipe still with us?
I've lost him. I don't know about you, Dan, but I've definitely lost. Oh no!
Can you guys hear me?
There he is. Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
No,
I'll come back.
now we got 8 bits again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your voice is awful, Filipe. It sounds like you're going through one of your fuzz pedals. He's going to come back and we're going to round it up because my internet is also... Whenever we have a guest, Dan, something always goes wrong with the internet and I always get the blame. But I genuinely don't think it's us. I think we're having some kind of technical issue.
I think that was Restream's issue because they sent us a couple messages during the stream that oops, your stream is kind of having performance issues. So I don't think it was either your or my. Yeah, you're back.
Yes, you're back, sir.
Sorry, yeah, somebody called.
Yeah, we're just saying we're going to round it up there because
okay.
Well, that's the end of the show, and I want to definitely see you in person and make some videos of you in person at NAMM, and we'll put them on the channel. Super looking forward to seeing where Beetronics goes because I don't know. Beetronics FX is a company that I'm always curious what happens next because it always seems like you keep outdoing yourself, and I mean that as a compliment, but also as an observation. And I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about going somewhere new.
I think we're outdoing ourselves
for me as a guitar pedal.
That's what's excited me because I think we really are outdoing ourselves. Like the next couple releases, they're crazy. They're crazy. That's all I can say. They are crazy. They sound crazy. They look crazy. And they are unique as well. Very unique, like something that you cannot have on any other pedal, any other brand. So I'm excited about it.
Great.
Wow.
And the good news is
that's
you
a big claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people will
excited.
find out on your channel. That's the best part, Andy. If they want to get all the news,
Yeah,
they just
absolutely.
need to stick to your channel and get all the NAM coverage from you guys. So that will
Are
be.
you going to say
pretty cool to
knob
see.
coverage then? All the knob coverage.
The knob coverage, yeah.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Knobs.
All right. I can.
If
sign
I
up for
find
that.
any interesting knobs, I'm going to bring them with me to give to you. So,
Please do.
okay. Well, Filipe, thank you so much for being a guest on the Guitar Stories show. It's been really fun talking to someone that's always so enthusiastic, and I'm excited what's going to happen next for Beetronics FX, and excited to go to NAMM and meet you and see what the Hive looks like. Congratulations on being a
Awesome.
dad again, and
Thank
yeah,
you, guys.
I guess that's
Thank
the
you
show.
for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great rest of the
I'll see
day.
you guys soon. Awesome.
Thank you for
too.
joining.
Thank you to everybody that listened and watched live. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, Dan is going to ask you to give us 5 stars on iTunes.
Absolutely. If you are a pedal nerd, or if you enjoy guitars, or if you just want to see Andy's throw and you enjoyed this show, please give us 5-star rating on iTunes, or head to Spotify and leave us a nice review for the show, so we can, go on with more episodes, invite more guests, and give you more amazing gear-related content, and share with some positivity with you guys. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you next week for episode 66 then.
Yes, not order 66. Thank you, Filipe. We'll see you soon, man.
See you guys.
Dan, take care. Goodbye,
You too.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Guitar Stories Podcast, your #1 show for everything guitar.